Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. Throughout the Troubles, we will continue to air Nevada Newsmakers on Channel 12 at 9:30 at night and Channel 19 in the Carson Valley. And he's got the rundown.
Are you trying to watch the war news and being interrupted by telemarketing calls? If so, you won't want to miss our talk with Assemblyman Marcus Conklin and hear how he plans on stopping them. And there are two people who think that we're spending too much of our state tax money on education, and there's a way to avoid it. Sam?
Thanks, Andy. And on the pundit panel today, John Cummings, Jim Denton, and on the barbed wire, it's Andy Barbano. It's all coming up next on the all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
Today's lesson, another reason to take the Gold Rush Club Card Challenge. With the Gold Rush card, you really have 3 cards in one. Use your cash back. You still keep your comps and drawing tickets. Use your comps. You still keep your cash and drawing tickets. And with your drawing tickets, you could win thousands in cold hard cash every week. And still keep your cash back and comps. Does your club add up? Graduate to the Gold Rush Players Club. It's the smart thing to do. The Gold Dust West, south on Keystone, east on 4th.
Folks, you must see what's new in Virginia City. Ride the V&T train all the way to Gold Hill. Explore a mine, if you dare. Visit Piper's Opera House. Watch the gunslingers shoot it up on C Street. Shop in unique stores. Listen to honky tonk in the historic saloons. You can't see it all in one day, so spend the night. Virginia City, where the West comes alive. Come up and spend the night in our hotels, motels, and RV parks.
When he was just a young boy, Ken Dillon laid back, looked up at the stars, and thought to himself, hey, this house could use a roof. Today, Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal offers a complete line of Firestone roofing products for any type of roof, from commercial to industrial and residential. With a Firestone roof from D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal, what's overhead stays overhead. Call Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal today for a free estimate. Yes, the technology sure has changed, but after all these years, Ken still enjoys playing with houses.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years. Call 882-1700 to see what we can do for your organization.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Andy Engleman.
16 legislators were elected to the legislature last year. We have one of the freshmen with us, Marcus Conklin. He's bringing a telemarketing bill. Marcus, thank you for being with us this morning.
Andy, thanks for having me.
What can you tell us now? How can somebody get on this do not call list that you're trying to get activated?
Well, once the list gets passed the legislature and the governor signs it into law, we'll set up a registry. People will be able to dial an 800 number and call in, put their name on the list, so telemarketers don't call them.
Now, there's some controversy, I guess, because some businesses want to have an exemption if they already have an existing relationship with someone. Is that correct? Like you once used a carpet cleaner, he wants to still be able to call you?
Correct. Many of the states that currently have these laws have existing business relationships. We are currently looking at what our options might be. The bill that I've originally drafted up does not provide for that exemption. We may put it in the consumer's hands and let them decide. They may have an option when they dial in. Do I want people that I currently do business with to be able to call me, or do I want no calls?
All right, so, let's say you had a carpet cleaner and you were unhappy with him. You don't really want to hear from him anymore. On the other hand, you do want your lawn man to call you when he's ready to start cutting grass in the springtime.
Sure.
So how would that work?
Well, there's a provision within the law that as long as a person has your permission to call you in the first place, they're welcome to call. So I don't think it'll be that cumbersome. The bottom line is most of us just don't want the annoying calls at dinner time, to interrupt our weekends with our family while we're out in the yard or lounging by the pool. That's the bottom line. People don't want to be bothered.
Now, what about political calls, in particular recorded political calls?
Well, you know, depending on how you look at it, political calls are covered by the First Amendment to the Constitution. In an effort to strengthen the bill, we have political free speech covered under our bill as, you know, not necessarily a telemarketing call. This bill specifically targets solicitation. So in some respects, it's almost a no solicitation bill.
All right, now what if you get a call from, let's say it's one of these recordings, which I get a lot of these from mortgage brokers, you know, a recording. I don't know whether they're in-state or out-of-state. How do you, and you've been on a do not call list, how do you turn them in?
Well, you can call, you'll be able to call the consumer's advocate if you so chose. These businesses have an obligation to buy the list prior to calling in the state of Nevada. So it's really going to be up to them to make sure that the numbers on the list aren't numbers that they're calling, unless, as I said before, you know, somebody's given you specific permission.
Well, are you going to be able to enforce this against an out-of-state company?
Well, there are 32 other states in the nation. In talking with folks from the Consumer's Advocate Office, my understanding is this will be enforceable. You know, you do have 32 other states who will be calling us, wanting our help in enforcing their laws as well. So I think it's going to be a pretty friendly bill from state to state.
Well, unless it's one of the states that hasn't enacted this law.
That list is diminishing rather quickly.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, you're a businessman. You work in business down in Las Vegas. You used your first session at the legislature. Taxes are the big issue.
Sure.
Where do you stand on taxes?
Well, at this point, I'm still evaluating all of the options. We have a need. Our education, as I see it, has a need, and a variety of other programs. But the bottom line is we're still evaluating all the potentials.
You like the gross receipts tax?
I can't say that I'm a fan of gross receipts. You know, at the end of the day, I'm going to do what's right for the state of Nevada. But, you know, there's a lot of other options out there we're still evaluating.
And you look at things statewide. You have a connection to the north, don't you, to northern Nevada?
Yes, I do.
Your uncle, I believe, Mike Conklin, was animal control officer in Carson City for many years.
I have some family up here.
So you get the northern perspective also.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Great. Thank you so much for being with us, Marcus.
Andy, thanks for having me.
And we'll be right back with Sam.
CTX can help you negotiate your best deal. We've been your home team advantage for over a decade. Call us today because at CTX, local service still matters.
Yeah, with CTX, you're homeward bound.
When you sign up for Wells Fargo Free Checking, you get more than free checking. You get the freedom to bank when and where you want. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. 7 award-winning dining choices. Experience the Atlantis Seafood Steakhouse tonight. Winner of Wine Spectator's Award of Excellence. The local choice for food and fun, Atlantis.
Atlantis.
At Sushi Club, everybody's family. That's what makes dining here so much fun. The sushi is consistently better, the atmosphere is great, and the service is wonderful.
Welcome to the bigger and better Sushi Club. Come in for our delicious daily specials.
When you're talking sushi, you're talking Sushi Club in the Independence Square Shopping Center.
Walk into the Cactus Creek Bar and Grill at the Bonanza Casino, and you know you're in for a very special evening. Enjoy the southwestern atmosphere, some of the best gourmet food in Reno. It starts right here with Chef Bruce Norman and his talented staff. From buffalo T-bone to martini scampi and peppercorn duck. There's fine wine, specialty margaritas, and our pastry chefs create award-winning desserts. The Cactus Creek in the Bonanza Casino, 1 mile north of the university, where locals come to play.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad, political analyst Ande Engleman on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the News 4 Broadcast Center, here's Sam Shad.
Liz MacMenamin is with the Nevada Retail Association, Ray Bacon with the Nevada Manufacturers Association, and they went to a conference where miracles were talked about.
Good morning. Thank you for being with us. Now, we're talking about the President's bill, No Child Left Behind, that requires certain standards to be met in all of the schools, and in fact, the federal government can come in and close down the schools if these standards aren't met.
No, the state can come in and close down the schools if the state has a school that fails to meet their standards. But one of the key things is the federal government is not usurping control from the states. It's just telling the states, you've got to go do your job.
Okay, but what was the miracle that was pronounced here at the conference?
Well, the miracle of the Education Leaders Council is here's a group of educators from states that are already doing the things. The states that are involved are Texas and Tennessee and North Carolina and places like that have made monumental improvements. And they are saying, fundamentally that we have set the example that you can teach all children to read, that you can make drastic improvements in all children, that we shouldn't just cast some of our kids aside. And as a society, we've done that for years and years and years.
But what are they saying about the money?
There's a ton of money. John Bonyer's got, the head of the House Committee on the Education has got a thing out. There's all kinds of misinformation being put out. There's more money being forwarded to the states than ever before, especially for the Title I schools. Title I schools get a massive increase.
What's a Title I school?
Title I schools are the schools with a large portion of disadvantaged and minority populations.
All right, but we also have a lot of schools that aren't Title I schools in Nevada. So, and I understand, according to Senator Harry Reid, that this budget to pay for education in Nevada has been zeroed out in Bush's budget, that we're not going to get money.
Not true.
Well, I don't think the senator is a liar, so...
Well, if you listen to the two speeches between Senator Ensign and Senator Reid, there was a substantial difference of opinion. Okay, the reality is, as is all political situations, probably someplace in the middle, but there's a huge chunk of money going forth to the schools. Is this going to be easy? No. Can we do it doing exactly what we've done in schools in the past? And the answer is probably not. Okay,
all right, so you're saying that we're going to get federal money to pay for this?
We will get federal money.
Absolutely. So that we don't need to use any state money?
Well, we're still going to have to, but remember, the state money is already partially there. We had already adopted academic standards. We're already implementing annual testing for students. Some of that is state money. Is the federal government going to pick up the entire bill? No, because we already had in our plan to do parts of these things. That's what the Education Reform Act of 1997 was all about.
Liz, what did you think was the most important thing that came out of that conference?
One of the things that I came away with that I was really impressed was the fact that so many of our children can learn, and they are at a disadvantage in the school system with a belief structure that is there now that these children can't learn. I was a teacher for a few years. I taught for 5 in a parochial school. And I saw that all children have a capability of learning. And I think our teachers have lost that piece that they need and the importance of the child and the fact that they can learn. So my feelings for this No Child Left Behind are strong. I watched children who came from homes that achieved success and have gone on to do well in life. So I just really think that this is something that we need to look at, that this is needed to happen. 1972, I believe, we started dumbing down our school system. That was the year that big changes came about academically. And at that time, we started teaching down to children as opposed to having them achieve their academic standards.
Liz, we're going to get to the point with this, if this all goes through the way that you're speaking, that we could get rid of the remedial education and university system for the kids that are coming
that would be a wonderful thought, yes.
And that's part of the work. That's where you're going to save money on this thing.
Yeah, you've got this big pile in front of you here.
That's roughly what the size of the legislation just for the state of Nevada. And every state in the union is going to be going through some sort of a bill of this size. This has got some extra information in it, but that's roughly the size of the bill. This is complex. This is not something we're going to cover and get totally squared away in 5 minutes. But the fundamental tenets of No Child Left Behind is that every child deserves to get a quality education. Every child deserves to have a quality teacher. And the thing which is implicit in the law but is not specifically stated is that every school deserves to have a qualified administrator running that school. You take the schools that truly have dynamic, heads up, move forward, positive, we can do it, we can make this school run leadership, and those schools are achieving. And it doesn't matter what their demographics are.
Well, how are you going to mark that? How are you going to be able to show that? What's the...
this thing is going very, very much back to the fundamentals of like a
Are we
manufacturing
talking testing,
company.
more tests?
We're talking not necessarily more testing, but we're talking consistency in our testing. It's going to be tested every year so that you can measure the incremental growth from one year to the next year.
Okay, Ray, Liz, I'm sorry to cut you off here. You knew
Thank
we were
you.
only
Yes.
so much. We're out of time.
Right.
Thanks for being here. We'll be back on Nevada Newsmakers after this time out.
Take a break and treat the family to breakfast, lunch, or dinner at Tamarack Junction. Enjoy pasta night on Wednesdays, Mexican on Thursdays, and seafood on Fridays. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amani Ranch Parkway.
When he was just a young boy, Ken Dillon laid back, looked up at the stars, and thought to himself, hey, this house could use a roof. Today, Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal offers a complete line of elk roofing products for any type of residential roof. With an elk roof from D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal, what's overhead stays overhead. Call Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal today for a free estimate. Yes, the technology sure has changed, but after all these years, Ken still enjoys playing with houses.
We've loosened our machines. We've given you the Gold Dust West Gold Rush Club, Reno's best slot club. You can win lots of jackpots. Play longer. Your points will add up faster than you think. Yeah, we're loose and we're not screwing around. See you at the Gold Dust West, south on Keystone, east on 4th.
Folks, you must see what's new in Virginia City. Ride the V&T train all the way to Gold Hill. Explore a mine, if you dare. Visit Piper's Opera House. Watch the gunslingers shoot it up on C Street. Shop in unique stores. Listen to honky tonk in the historic saloons. You can't see it all in one day, so spend the night. Virginia City, where the West comes alive. Come up and spend the night in our hotels, motels, and RV park.
At Tamarack Junction, you can take advantage of fabulous food around the clock. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, give the oven and yourself a rest. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amani Ranch Parkway.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, it's time for the Pundit Panel. You just can't
They're
keep them
never silent.
down.
They're never silent.
They've been here 24 hours. They're still talking. Okay, let's introduce
There's a
them
war
to you.
on. We don't sleep.
Okay. Ande Barbano, columnist for the Daily Sparks Tribune, is here. John Cummings with Southern Nevada Community College, and political consultant Jim Denton. To get serious for a moment, before we start that, you had an update for us.
Yeah, on the telemarketing bill, it did pass the Assembly, and now it's over in the Senate. The business types are very happy because they somehow think that Senator Townsend's going to amend this bill and allow them to continue to bug you and call you. They're forgetting that Senator Townsend is the person who came along with the consumer advocate originally.
Indeed.
With a little bit of help from me.
I think that...
And that is the truth.
I think that by the time that bill comes to the Senate, I think it's going to reflect what the true intent of what I see as the legislature being, which is pro-consumer in this issue.
Well, on this one, I rather agree with the conservatives that if on the national level, W can do something right for a change and pass the national telemarketing law. Right now, this law could only affect a telemarketer operating in Nevada that the government knew about.
No, that's not true. No, this
really?
makes us part of a 32 state consortium.
Yeah, it would still only apply to Nevada.
But we have to wait for the FTC to adopt regulations, which could take 6 months to a year.
You need a national law and a national do not call registry. This may be popular, but I don't think it's going to be very efficient.
The point
These
is,
guys move.
The point is, you have to start somewhere. It's a good idea.
Yeah, I think give Marcus Conklin his due on this.
I think Marcus deserves some credit
legislature.
I agree, John.
A young man coming in here and has taken this issue and it's going to the Senate.
Great grandstanding, but a national.
I think it's more than just grandstanding. I think this is earnest on Marcus's.
Okay, let's talk a different topic here.
You're always
one that's top of mind here. John, there was an incident yesterday down at Southern Nevada Community College. Would you tell us the story?
There sure was, Sam. We during a discussion at one of our campus locations that'll remain unnamed, there was discussion amongst staff as to what was happening in Iraq. And of course, a lot of patriotic fervor. We're going to get them. Sam's going to get his. One student worker who was listening to this was an American citizen, but her family had been born in Iraq, and she let out with a statement wishing death for the American troops, which was an ignorant thing to say, but yet it was an example of free speech. However, the staff and students there turned on her. We had to send her home. We're actually having to find her a new work location, and I've had to send counselors out to the campus site to talk to the employees and to the students and try to heal this. But
You even had the police come out, correct?
the police, indeed, someone did call the police. The police did come out. They've questioned the girl. They've told her that they were turning her name over to the FBI. And, you know, it brings home the point here that emotions are running high on this issue. And, I mean, this was at a college campus and where free thought, expression is encouraged.
John, it's an outrageous statement.
It was an ignorant statement,
no doubt. It's an ignorant,
She's got
outrageous
family
statement.
over there. You
It's
got to
an
look at it from
ignorant,
her viewpoint.
outrageous statement. I mean, it's one thing to oppose government policy. It's another thing to oppose troops in the field. I think it's an ignorant,
She was speaking
outrageous
emotionally,
statement.
I'm sure.
Well, I
mean,
understand
she's
family
19
over there.
19 years
She's got
old.
family.
And I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with you, Jim. But you know, Andy's right. You know, she was thinking of it, however wrong that statement was. You know, it points out that, you know, this war is here. It's here in Nevada. It's on our college campus. It's in our stores. It's what we're talking about every single day. And we've got opinions ranging from left to right and in the middle on this one.
The best position is pro-life.
I'm not sure I really understand that, but we'll move on, at least in context. Andy, you wanted to talk a little bit about the amount of information being given out by journalists on the air and whether that compromises the U.S. military.
Right, and I want to assure people that it doesn't, that actually what the journalists are giving out as information they have received from the military, and I presume the military is bright enough to not give them the information if they don't want it out. Even so, journalists are attempting to be very, very careful in what they give out so they don't cause any deaths by anyone.
The news media usually print press releases most of the time anyway, so it's perfectly consistent with their standing policy.
I think the news media has done a good job of covering this war. And I think they've done a good job of being exactly mindful of what you just said.
But you know what the interesting thing, though, Jim? You know, I've covered military issues in the state of Nevada for a long time, and there all these independent analysts, former military people that are working for all the networks and even on local levels. They make a phone call before they do these shows. They call back to their old bosses and say, "Hey, what's the current party line?" Everybody is going to be saying exactly the same thing because the only information comes from the military. You can't find it out, and there are no renegades that are on there. General Schwarzkopf this morning on MSNBC was not coming out with things that he independently found out through investigative reporting.
True, but
he's coming out with things based upon his knowledge and a phone
different.
call he made before the show.
That's no different than a conversation that Andy and you and I and Andy had yesterday, where you and I were of the opinion that this conflict would start yesterday, and she was of a different opinion. You and I were using educated guesses as well in that regard.
There are ways to get
and I'm not
information.
disagreeing with you that, but what I'm saying is that in the last war, you had CBS's Bob Simon going off on his own and being captured by the Iraqis. You're not going to see that in this war. The military has embedded the journalists with them. They will control their access to information. And what their current plan appears to be is that they are giving the media so much information that they're busy trying to disseminate that to the public on every level, but they're not able to go off and do independent investigations.
Which I think they should give a lot
If you
of
play
credit
heads-up
for doing.
football, you can get critical information that the public needs to know. I picked up a scoop off of international shortwave during the Gulf War, and an alert radio listener of mine led me to a story that no one else printed till the war was over, that Saddam Hussein could have used our global positioning satellite system to aim his Scuds because our troops on the ground did not have D-scramblers. And I broke it in the Sparks Tribune and couldn't get anybody else interested in it. The Washington Post confirmed it in July after the war.
You know, one of the things that I think is unfortunate with these, with what we see as these television wars, is that people think this is easy and they tend to forget. And this is why I have a problem with the statement.
Right.
You know, they see these television wars and these guided lasers and these smart bombs, and they forget there are real people dying.
Oh, yeah.
That's the whole point of the propaganda campaign. The military knows that in Vietnam, what caused the ferment against the Vietnam War was that we let news crews in there. and they want it.
Well, I think
right now it's all
Sam
managed.
is right. It is managed, and you are exactly right. The coverage looks more like a state-sponsored documentary.
It looks
than
like
does
Survivor.
Actual media coverage right now.
But you know what's interesting? I was speaking with my wife last night, and she brought up the issue that she did not realize how evil Hussein's sons were.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
and,
They're
and
worse-
she
they're-
raised
they're
a good
worse than
point
their
that if
father.
you watch, for the most part, television news is a headline service. Unless you're watching an in-depth piece on television can be 8 minutes long on some of the biggest shows. It's incumbent upon all of us to read and watch and listen to as many different sources of information, whether it be shortwave radio, the New York Times.
Well, I can tell you for an absolute fact that it was not by accident that President Bush, when he put out his ultimatum, said Saddam Hussein and his two sons leave by 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock.
We're going to
Pacific
take a
time
break. We're going to
yesterday.
come back to the panel for a very quick roundup here. We'll be right back.
If you're talking sushi, you're talking Sushi Club. Year after year voted the best place for sushi. 11 chefs on staff to serve you. Better ingredients for consistent high quality. And lots of room, so bring your friends. Sushi Club in the Independence Square Shopping Center.
Feel it, the magic is everywhere. The action, the style, the food, the flair. Play with us, stay with us in Reno, say El Dorado, and live the excitement. El Dorado, Reno shining star. Live the excitement.
CTX can help you negotiate your best deal. We've been your home team advantage for over a decade. Call us today because at CTX, local service still matters.
Yeah, with CTX, you're homeward bound.
When you sign up for Wells Fargo free checking, you get more than free checking. You get the freedom to bank when and where you want. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. Toucan Charlie's Buffet and Grill, consistently voted Reno's best buffet by locals. Experience the Mongolian barbecue, new Asian station, and sumptuous exhibition stations filled with fresh entrees, salads, and desserts. Try the Friday night seafood buffet and Sunday champagne brunch.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
Okay, dumb idea of the week. Let's come up with Jim
Dumb
first.
idea of the week goes to the legislators that suggested in the middle of a recession, when the state is broke, that they are considering a pay raise for themselves.
When
or
K-12 is broke,
yeah,
when higher
K-12
education
is
broke,
broke,
please.
A couple of legislators.
Please, I have to agree with Jim. I saw this.
It's a
I
dumb
saw this
idea
same
we-
movie in 1989.
Yeah,
it was called The 300%.
Okay, Andy?
I can tell you where to find Saddam Hussein, and it's very, very obvious. This ain't dumb, it's smart. As smart as a smart bomb. Saddam Hussein is hiding at the hotel with all the American and international reporters because that's the one place that never got hit during the Gulf War. He's there, go get him. He can surrender to CNN.